Thank you so much, Master of Ceremonies. Me and my wife have of late developed this habit of spending time together. In the mornings, because we go to drop our sons to school. The elder one, somewhere around Rawdon Street, and the younger one further down near Park Street. Today was no exception. I decided to drive ma'am in action and went to the school. But after I had dropped my first child, I decided that the Toastmaster in me was taking precedence and I was suddenly becoming a grammarian. So I looked at her and said, "Would you mind if I park the car around?" She said again, "Not on the walls." I said, "No, can you wait, please?" She said, "Okay, go ahead, but come back quick." She mistook, but the grammarian in me knew what he was doing. So I parked my car and then stepped out. And suddenly, the R counter was taking precedence, or was it the timer? Because there was a sergeant driving by and the timer in me said, "Hurry up, whatever you need to do quickly." So I ran across to a small little flower shop, picked up a pink rose. Yes, I chose the pink rose. I categorically, specifically selected the pink rose and picked it up for her and came back adroitly. Our counter, remembering that there should be no hiccups, I kept quiet and I just handed it to her. My younger son was still in the car. He took the flower away. And my wife turned around to see that there was a flower in the car. So she said, "Why today?" I said, "Happy Valentine's Day." And I drove off. Ladies and gentlemen, while I was driving off, I suddenly felt like Manmohan Desai. The wheels were turning and we were going back in time. And like a good Hindi movie, I thought, let's take it in reverse action. So, my life, I took steps of 10 years, decades to go. In the first decade, which exists now in my life, some very meritorious events took place. I lost a job, got another job. I lost a second job, and I'm looking for a job. My two sons were born. And at the stroke of the decade, I got married to the same woman who did not even remember that it was Valentine's Day today. But I love her, so the pink rose. And the evening is very important, so I'm away from her. This decade also brought in a lot of things as far as learning is concerned. I joined Toastmasters, where I learned what it was to do public speaking. I learned what it was to communicate to people. I learned how to reach out to people. And therein I found my bearing. I realized that I had certain pastimes. I could still play tennis. I took up a liking for golf, which my son now indulges in. I got back to books, more of fiction. I still do healthy eating, and my gym is a regularity, not at Karma though. Putting all this together was this decade. When I went back, another 10. And I realized that those 10 years of my life were very important. There, I qualified. I qualified as an MBA from Jadavpur University. And just while I was doing that, I got my first break as a job as an assistant. And therein, I had also completed my postgraduate diploma in computer applications from BIT Leicester. That decade, the one before the one that I'm in now, that qualified me to take up the challenges of the one that I exist in now. That decade also brought in personal losses. My joint family broke around. My grandfather and my grandmother passed away. Some of my pets, my pet dogs, whom I indulge in, that's my pastime also, because I show dogs, I lost some of them. The very fabric that I existed in was being torn apart. The wheels moved ahead because the traffic signal had changed, and I moved 10 years back. And now, I was almost 30 years away from what I am today. And then I realized that in that decade, I was finishing my schooling from St. Xavier's School and finishing my college from St. Xavier's College, having graduated in BCom honors. And therein, I realized that that was the time when I also realized how important Valentine's Day was. My first love, my first crush, my first heartbreak, my first ability to understand somebody telling me no, and then moving ahead and falling in love again. And then I realized that what I used to tell myself then, all the women, Naveen, who walked your life are suddenly becoming somebody else's wife. And then the decade before that, and that was when I was born, in the autumn of the month of February, when my father, a doctor by profession, and my mother, a housewife, gave birth to their little bundle of joy in the month of February, 22nd to be so precise. And in my joint family system, which had existed from the northern states of India, specifically from Multan, a child was born after almost 18 years. And after that, my younger brother, who's a lawyer now, came into being. My wife, by now, realized that we were going back home. So she woke me up from my reminiscence and told me, we have to go and pick them up today, the driver's not coming. My wife, Rashmi, is a freelancer. So she maintains her own timing, while I have a lot of other duties to do. So putting all this together, ladies and gentlemen, has been my journey from my birth to now. And there's a lot to do before I finally sleep.